to Cambridge House Live. I'm Bridget Anderson at the World Resource Investment Conference, and Jeff Berwick, the founder of the Dollar Vigilante, joins me. Jeff, let's start off taking a look at something that you said recently, because I want to get behind that. You were saying that we're going through a paradigm shift in the markets, and I think many people would agree with you on that. So tell me your reasons for saying that.
There's so many things going on right now in the markets, it's really almost schizophrenic. And talking about gold is one example. You look at what happened in Cyprus, major problems in the financial system, and you look at things like Bitcoin as well. During that collapse in Cyprus and the total confiscation, daylight robbery of funds out of Cyprus, which is going to happen as well in Italy and Spain, it's going to happen throughout Europe, gold barely moved at all. It was up $5 that day, I believe, and the next day it was down $5. Bitcoin, on the other hand, was $35, and it went to a peak of $250 during that same time period. So we're seeing all kinds of interesting things. And as well with gold, also what was very interesting is as gold has dropped recently.
Big drops in April.
Yeah, very big drop, but you can't buy any physical gold anywhere. There's a lot of... schizophrenic is the best word for it.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is a definite segregation between paper gold price and physical gold price. And the paper markets are obviously quite controlled and manipulated. Whether you want to go into major conspiracies or not, it definitely is something going on there, as was shown during that Cyprus escapade. But you can't really explain why gold drops and you can't buy any physical. I think the paper markets and the physical markets are beginning to diverge. And I actually also believe that within the next few years, you probably won't be able to buy physical gold or silver at any price for a fiat currency.
Well, let's stick with paper assets, because your skepticism also includes stocks. So what do investors, should they own any paper assets at all?
It's definitely the most dangerous time in human history for capital right now. Many people don't realize, because if you watch CNBC or you watch your typical media, they tend to say, oh, it's green shoots or it's a recovery. But there's major systemic problems that are actually behind the scenes. George Soros said in 2009 that the financial system collapsed. I agree with him, and I rarely agree with George Soros. But all they're doing is papering it over. They're printing money. That's what all these QE to infinity, just printing money, trying to make it appear like the system is okay, but it's actually massive systemic problems with the system. It would have collapsed in 2008 if they didn't just continue to print money. And now all they're doing is printing money to try to make it appear like the system is still solid.
And what do you think is the implication of continuing to print money for that then?
Well,
I mean, where do you see this going?
Zimbabwe, Argentina, that's always the case. As you print large amounts of money, it always goes into eventually some sort of hyperinflation.
And you don't think that's too extreme of you?
Not at all. That's exactly what they're doing right now. The Federal Reserve has never printed this amount of money ever in its history. It's been over 10% per year of money printing for the last 5 years. They're manipulating interest rates at 0%. Ben Bernanke has said he's going to keep it there till 2015. I believe they're going to keep it there until the system collapses, because there's so much government debt now at $17 trillion. If they were to allow the interest rate to rise to a normal market level, which would probably be well over 10%, $17 trillion would be $1.7 trillion per year just in interest payments alone. That's almost the entire tax theft extortion revenue of the U.S. government.
And is this where your interest in Bitcoins came in then? And maybe before we even get started on that, maybe you need to educate us a little bit about what it is.
Sure. I'm really excited about Bitcoin because many people used to ask me, they would say, well, if these fiat currencies are going to collapse, what's going to come in its place? And I always used to say the free market, private enterprise will come up with a solution, whether it be gold or silver or something else. And Bitcoin is the first free market private money created. It's a completely electronic currency. There is no central Bitcoin servers, so you can't. The U.S. government right now definitely sees it as a threat. They're trying to shut it down any way they can, but they can't. It's a beautiful thing. It's not based in any one location. It's like a torrent. There's no way to actually shut down Bitcoin. And so we could actually see Bitcoin become a real currency that people use in their lives.
Well, I was going to ask, what's the practical application of it right now? I mean, are people using it in that way, or are we not quite there?
It's just growing. It started in 2009, which was almost perfect because that was when the last sort of collapse happened.